Alpha 4.8 Star Citizen has not had a good release. It's been particularly bad, and for the last couple of weeks, we've been tracking a lot of what CIG themselves have been saying about how they're going to fix it. All over the forums, we've been seeing these posts of known issues, of how they're going to fix these known issues, of what their plans are, what's currently going on, what's coming. But the biggest thing people have been wanting is communication, and while this has certainly helped, just 2 to 3 weeks after the problem showed itself, the big thing is we kind of need someone to just start answering questions. CIG has finally, there we go, made this happen. They're bringing out the CTO just like they have. We actually watched the last time the CTO came out just recently on the channel, and they're bringing him out again this Thursday, June 18th, for a 2-hour long episode. It's going to be Benoit Beauséjour, the CTO, and Jens Lind, the gameplay engineer director. He does not go on camera often. I think I maybe remember him being on a show before, but not often. So I think they're hitting some hoops, to try and make sure that we actually get real communication about it. Who knows if he's actually answering questions or if it's mostly just damage control. But every time he's come on camera, we've gotten some pretty substantial communication about the problems we've been having. Last year or earlier this year when he came on, he was talking about the transit system, freight elevators, item recovery, what's going on with social tools, shards, instancing, all that kind of stuff. That is this guy. Not this, that's Jared. We know Jared. No one loved Jared. That is this guy. And he's been on before too at the end of last year, where he came on to talk about the freight elevator problems and what was going on with the playability push of last year. So this is definitely they're taking it more seriously. This is a bigger response to the players to try and get information out there and make things clear. I'm going to post this link to you guys in the chat here live. YouTube, sorry, your chat's broken for some reason, so I can't post it there. But if you'd like to go here, you can actually ask your own questions. I have asked my own. But I've already seen somebody ask questions about the tech preview, so I just upvoted that, and hopefully it gets answered. This is good. This is a good thing. We want more. This is what we need to have. And honestly, it's disappointing that we are not just regularly getting these Star Citizen lives from different devs like we used to. They've certainly pulled back a bit on that. But it's good to see that they're taking this serious and they're getting the person they need to in front to answer these questions. But this is still part of the whole CIG is kind of grown up thing that I pushed last year. They've clearly still have problems with communication, but this falls in line with their habit now to only let certain people answer certain questions. I think that's part of not having as many Star Citizen lives, or even inside Star Citizens, is they don't have devs that are working on random little things, saying stuff that might get, saved by the community and revisited later as you said this, you said that, where is this? Now they mainly, instead of like this old time they used to do it like this, way back here. Now they basically have their CTO on whenever they want to answer questions about the tech, like they're about to do. They have John Crew and Ben Curtis on whenever they want to talk about ships. They have Richard Tyrer on whenever they want to talk about the direction. They have Zach Priest, Luke Presley. They have Richard Challer, and can't remember who else came on for the flight model. But they have these key people that they name for each part of the game now, who comes out to answer stuff at specific times instead of just doing it all the time like they used to. And it's a bit of a bummer, but it also means that we can expect this to be hopefully a little bit more interesting information. Here's what he was saying last time they had him on the show, just a little bit of an example of what you might be looking forward to this week. This is a question he was answering about freight elevators, I believe, which were a big problem back then and are becoming a big problem now. So it'd be interesting to see what was being said in February.
Of somebody, just going to town with their whole C, and they went through a jump point, and it took them trying to go to one system, it kicked them back out to the next system, and the thing crashed, and then they got back in, and the spindles they tried to open the spindles, but the spindles were closed, or looked closed, but they were actually open, so they were in the wrong state. Tried to get refueled, tried to go to refuel, the refuel thing wasn't working, and then stowed the ship and spawned the ship, and it didn't come back on the docking port. It came back in their hangar full of cargo, and it's like this. It's like, we acknowledge that. I'm sitting here saying we acknowledge those things, but there was so many massive improvements last year. You used an analogy last time we did with this about I think it was the big freight container, the big giant Suez Canal shipping things, that you don't just turn the direction around, you don't just spin the wheel and suddenly you're facing a new direction. It takes time to move these things, and the efforts of your teams and the people under you, these strike teams, these hero teams as you call them, to turn this ship that we call the persistent universe around in the last year, has been phenomenal. If I'm allowed to have a personal opinion, being the shill for the company that I am, it's been phenomenal. We haven't gotten everything. Everything. We still got another year. The work continues. Yeah. But it's my show, and I wanted to take 5 minutes to acknowledge the tremendous work of those teams, and a whole lot was accomplished last year, in addition to the amazing content work. I said 10 patches, and I realized we actually had 11 because we kicked engineering out. Yeah. We kicked engineering out in December, so it was actually 11 patches. 11 patches in 12 months is pretty crazy. So you allow me to have a moment, to have some time to sit there and sing the praises of those people, because I've seen where we were. And I know where we are, and we're in a much better place now. It's just the beginning of the term. Still places to go. Yes. That scenario I just described was like last week, and we got still places to go. Yes. But that doesn't mean we don't acknowledge the progress we've made.
I think it's a testament to kind of the systematic approach we've taken to solve some of these issues, instead of previously we used to just assign tickets to people and they would find the fastest way to solve it, and now we're kind of work as a team. I was
muted before. What I was asking was, does it feel like it's been fixed, these elevators? How much more work does it feel like they need to do? Because it seems like this is becoming a renewed problem again in 4.8.1 compared to where it was in 4.7.
Basically the harbinger, like, no, it's not fixed. I can still repro, right? And these guys have been going through a systematic approach for it. I think that's paid off a bit,
We get better.
Yeah.
Not always, but we try. And in this case, we've definitely gotten better. There were some big changes to internal infrastructure and stuff in the last year or two, and we're seeing the results of that stuff.
That's actually something that I keep hearing. It's like there is a lot of changes going on at the company, obviously, that we're not being made privy to. And maybe that is adding to the different ways that they're acting. I think that there's certainly been a distinct change over the last few years, but ultimately the communication has fallen more on these small amounts of individuals than the company at large like they used to. That's why we're not seeing as much Star Citizen Live or Inside Star Citizen, but we are getting it this week. So I'm hopefully going to be able to cover this. We're leaving on Friday. Those of you who know, we're heading out of town for some family stuff, and I'll be gone for the weekend. So considering this is meant to go on Thursday, I should be able to cover this. We'll probably do a special. I don't know if I'm going to go live because I do have a podcast filming on Thursday as well. I might just record this offline and then post a reaction to it afterwards. But we'll see. We'll feel it out as the week goes on. Either way, take a chance to ask the CTO a question. Hopefully he gets it answered. And if not, you can at least tune in to see what kind of questions they do answer to alleviate the worries of people as we head into 4.8.2 and 4.9, because instancing is coming up. There's a tech preview going out for it this week probably, and they need to do better at giving people confidence in the game before they drop into yet another tech-heavy update. So we'll see what they have to say. Hope you got your in date. Hope you got your in date. We're going to stick with that because updates are out.